Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where opinions, judgments, and expectations come at us from every angle, knowing your worth becomes a powerful anchor. All too often, we find ourselves measuring our value through the eyes of others, waiting for their approval, their applause, or even a simple nod of agreement. But the truth is, if we're constantly looking outside for validation, we're giving others control over how we see ourselves. Knowing your worth means recognizing that you are enough right here, right now, just as you are. It's about believing in your value, even if no one else sees it. It means you don't need to earn your worth through achievements, appearances, or the roles you play in other people's lives. Your worth is inherent. It's built into the fabric of who you are. Think about a diamond. Its value doesn't depend on whether people recognize it as precious or not. It simply is precious. In the same way, your worth is not something to be proven, measured, or justified. It just is. And once you embrace that, you become less dependent on others' opinions and more aligned with your true self. This doesn't mean we ignore others or never seek input from people who matter. But it does mean that, at the end of the day, we don't rely on those external voices to define us. Their words may be helpful, encouraging, or insightful, but they aren't what make us worthy. When you know your worth, you stop settling. You stop allowing people to treat you in ways that don't honor who you truly are. You become free to stand tall, unapologetic about the person you are, even if others disagree or don't see what you see. This journey isn't always easy. Society often rewards conformity, and it's tempting to shape ourselves around others' expectations. But the strength you build when you begin to know and live in the truth of your worth is life-changing. You learn to protect your energy, say no to what doesn't serve you, and invest your time in what genuinely fulfills you. So as you move forward, remember this: you are valuable, whole, and deserving. Not because someone else says so, but because you decide that it's true. Your worth is yours, and it's a truth that no one can take away. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about vulnerability not as something to fear, but as a bridge to authenticity, connection, and personal power. It's not easy to open up, especially when society often tells us that vulnerability is a weakness. But the truth is, vulnerability is a source of strength, and owning your story, with all its imperfections, is one of the bravest things you can do. When we embrace vulnerability, we're giving ourselves permission to show up as we are, without hiding parts of ourselves out of fear of rejection, judgment, or misunderstanding. It's about being honest with ourselves first. Because let's face it, we all have moments of self-doubt, insecurities, past mistakes, and painful experiences. But owning these parts of our story doesn't make us weak. It makes us real, relatable, and resilient. Imagine this: every time you hide a part of yourself, you're carrying an invisible weight. And over time, these hidden parts accumulate into a heavy burden. You end up feeling like you need to wear a mask to put on a perfect facade for others. But the beauty of embracing vulnerability is that it allows us to put down that weight, to say, this is me, this is where I've been, this is where I've been, this is what I've learned. It's incredibly liberating. When we dare to be vulnerable, we become more compassionate, both toward ourselves and others. By sharing our real selves, we not only find healing, but also give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability has this incredible ripple effect. When one person is open and honest, it encourages others to let their guard down too. Relationships deepen, trust grows, and we find ourselves surrounded by people who love us not for our masks, but for our truth. Embracing vulnerability also means owning the struggles, the failures, and the parts of our story that didn't go as planned. It's about seeing those moments not as scars, but as proof of our courage. These parts of our journey, the ones we often want to hide, are where our growth and resilience are born. They're the moments that shape us, teach us, and make us who we are. But let's be clear: vulnerability isn't about oversharing or exposing every part of ourselves indiscriminately. It's about making a conscious choice to share parts of our story that are meaningful and that can help us connect more deeply with others. Vulnerability is about choosing authenticity over approval. It's about standing in our truth, even when we fear judgment. When you embrace vulnerability, you take back ownership of your life story. You no longer live by others' definitions or expectations. You live by your own terms. You get to decide what each chapter means, what lessons it taught, and how it continues to shape you moving forward. So I encourage you to step into your story with courage. Embrace the parts that are difficult, the ones you'd rather leave out, and know that those very parts make you beautiful, resilient, and deeply human. Vulnerability isn't about showing your weaknesses, it's about showing your strength, your bravery, and your willingness to live fully, regardless of the opinions of others. In owning your story, you find not only acceptance but a sense of peace. You learn that there's nothing wrong with being fully and authentically yourself. This journey toward vulnerability and self-acceptance will bring you a richness in life and in your relationships that no mask could ever offer. In a world full of opinions, advice, and endless shoulds, it's easy to feel pulled in a dozen directions. We have friends, family, colleagues, mentors, all eager to offer their insights on what they think is best for us. And while advice can be helpful, inspiring, and even comforting, we must remember that our path is uniquely ours. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where advice flows freely. Family, friends, mentors, even strangers on the internet, everyone has an opinion on what we should do, how we should live, and who we should become. There's no doubt that advice can be valuable. It's a gift when people share their knowledge, experiences, and insights with us, but there's a delicate balance to be found accepting others' guidance while still honoring our own inner compass. Listening to advice is an important skill. It means we're open to learning, willing to hear new perspectives, and humble enough to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. But making our own decisions, that's where the real power lies. Ultimately, no one else is living our life or walking in our shoes. No one else knows the depth of our dreams, the uniqueness of our journey, or the inner workings of our heart. And this is why, after listening to all the advice, we must remember that the final choice belongs to us alone. There's something incredibly empowering about making decisions based on what feels right to you. It's an act of self-trust. Yes, there might be people who disagree, who question your choices, or even criticize them. But making your own decisions means standing in your truth, owning your path, and recognizing that you, more than anyone else, are responsible for your happiness and fulfillment. Listening to advice can sometimes feel like walking a tightrope. On one side, there's the fear of ignoring someone's wisdom and making a mistake on the other. There's the danger of giving away our power by always deferring to others. The truth is, both mistakes and successes are essential parts of growth. When you make a decision, whether it leads to success or failure, it's your experience. It's how you learn, how you evolve, and how you shape the person you're becoming. Think about the times you made a choice based solely on others' advice, even when it didn't sit well with you. Maybe you felt uneasy, but you ignored your gut because you wanted to please others, or you didn't trust your own judgment. Those decisions often leave us feeling disconnected from ourselves, as if we've abandoned a piece of who we are. Conversely, think about a time when you followed your own instincts. Even if it was difficult, didn't it feel empowering? When we make our own choices, we strengthen our sense of self and gain confidence, no matter the outcome. Now, this doesn't mean we dismiss the wisdom of others, far from it. Listening to advice is essential for seeing perspectives we might miss and for learning from others' experiences. But after listening, it's up to us to take that information and weigh it against our values, dreams, and intuition. Consider advice like a toolkit. Take what you need and leave the rest. What resonates with you? What aligns with who you are and where you want to go? At times, the advice of others will align perfectly with what you feel is right, and that's wonderful. But at other times, it may not. When that happens, trust yourself. You are the expert on your own life. Trust that you have the wisdom and the courage to choose the path that's meant for you. By listening to advice but making your own decisions, you're honoring both the wisdom of others and the wisdom within yourself. You're saying, I value your insights, but I value my inner guidance too. This balance allows you to stay open to learning without losing sight of your individuality. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you move through life, remember this lesson generously. Be open to advice and guidance. But when it comes time to choose, honor the voice inside you that says, this is right for me. Stand by your decisions with confidence, knowing that even if the path gets rocky, you are learning, growing, and shaping a life that's authentically yours. Ladies and gentlemen, fear of judgment is a powerful force, one that can make us shrink back, hide our true selves, and avoid stepping fully into our lives. We've all been there holding back on a dream, a goal, or even just sharing our thoughts because of the worry, what will they think? But here's the thing, if we let the fear of others' opinions control us, we end up living lives shaped not by our passions, values, or aspirations, but by others' expectations. When we let fear of judgment silence us, we dim our voices, our creativity, and our individuality. Imagine carrying a powerful idea, a unique perspective, or a heartfelt story, yet feeling unable to share it because of what others might say or think. Over time, holding back takes a toll on us. We feel frustrated, stifled, and disconnected from our true selves. We start doubting our worth, our abilities, and even our purpose because we've given others the power to dictate what we believe about ourselves. But consider this: judgment is inevitable. No matter what we do, someone somewhere will have an opinion about it. We can't control others' thoughts or reactions. Trying to live a life free of judgment is like trying to live without breathing. It's impossible. So rather than fearing judgment, let's shift our focus to something we can control: our response to it. The reality is, fear of judgment is rooted in our deep-seated need to belong. We all want acceptance, connection, and approval. It's human. But we have to ask ourselves, what is the cost of that approval? If we sacrifice our voice, our dreams, and our authenticity for acceptance, we end up belonging to a version of ourselves that isn't real. And deep down, we know it. True belonging doesn't come from fitting into others' molds. It comes from standing in our truth, regardless of whether others approve. One of the most freeing things you can realize is that other people's judgments are more about them than about you. Their opinions are shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and insecurities. If someone judges your path, it often reflects their own limitations, not yours. You are not here to fit into someone else's version of who you should be. You're here to be authentically, unapologetically you. When you let go of the fear of judgment, you give yourself permission to live boldly. You open up to new possibilities, take risks, and show up in ways that feel true to who you are. You start to make choices based on what brings you fulfillment and joy, rather than on what's acceptable to others. This kind of freedom is transformative. You become a person who leads, who inspires, who creates without hesitation, not because others approve, but because it's who you are. And let's remember, vulnerability is part of this journey. Putting ourselves out there, our dreams, ideas, creativity does make us vulnerable to criticism. But it also makes us vulnerable to connection, growth, and deep, authentic living. Every time we choose to be ourselves, despite the fear of judgment, we build resilience. We strengthen our sense of self, learning that we can withstand others' opinions because we know our worth is not dependent on them. Fear of judgment may always be there, whispering in the background. But you don't have to let it silence you. Instead, acknowledge it, understand why it's there, and then let it go. Trust that you are strong enough to stand by your choices, to speak your truth, and to live in alignment with your values. Surround yourself with people who uplift and celebrate you for who you are, not those who keep you in a box. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's make a choice today. Let's choose to live courageously, to speak up, to pursue our dreams, and to express ourselves fully, no matter who might be watching. Don't let fear of judgment steal your voice or rob you of a life that feels deeply fulfilling and true. Show up in your life as your authentic self, and watch as the world responds to the real, unfiltered, unapologetic you. Brené Brown jibe advice to people. Ladies and gentlemen, resilience is the quiet power that helps us weather life's storms, and it's something we all need, especially on those days that test us to our core. Resilience is not simply about enduring tough times or putting on a brave face. True resilience is about creating a deep foundation within ourselves, something solid and unwavering that we can rely on, no matter what life throws our way. It's not just about bouncing back, it's about growing, adapting, and thriving in the face of hardship. Building inner resilience requires intention, practice, and a willingness to nurture our inner strength. To build inner resilience, we must start with acceptance that hard days are inevitable, and that they are part of our journey. Life is a mix of highs and lows, and resilience is born from understanding that adversity is not a sign of failure or weakness. Instead of resisting or fearing tough times, we can learn to see them as part of the human experience, knowing that they will shape us in ways that easy days never could. This acceptance takes away the power that hard days have over us. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, we can start to view them as opportunities for growth. Resilience is deeply rooted in the belief that no matter what happens, we have the strength to get through it. This belief doesn't come from a place of arrogance or overconfidence. It comes from knowing ourselves and trusting in our capacity to handle life's challenges. Self-belief is not just about thinking we are capable, it's about knowing that even when we stumble, we have the ability to stand back up. Building this mindset involves reflecting on our past successes and recognizing the ways we have overcome hardships before. Each challenge we face and overcome is a reminder that we are stronger than we think, and this knowledge becomes fuel for resilience. In difficult times, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything that seems beyond our control. But resilient people understand that worrying about things we cannot change only drains our energy. Instead, they focus on what they can control: their reactions, their choices, and their mindset. When we shift our attention to the things within our control, we empower ourselves. We can't always change our circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them. This sense of agency, even in challenging times, strengthens our resilience because it reminds us that we always have a say in how we navigate our journey. Inner resilience is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected by hardship. True resilience is about developing emotional agility, the ability to experience a range of emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Emotional agility means allowing ourselves to feel sadness, frustration, or anger, but then choosing to move forward rather than getting stuck in those emotions. We can't control how we feel, but we can control how long we let those feelings linger and how we respond to them. Building this skill helps us remain flexible and adaptable, which are crucial components of resilience. Resilience is not a solo journey. In fact, one of the most powerful ways to build inner resilience is by surrounding ourselves with people who lift us up, remind us of our strength, and help us see our potential when we lose sight of it. This could be friends, family, mentors, or even a supportive community. These people become our lifelines during hard times, providing perspective, encouragement, and sometimes just a listening ear. Knowing that we are not alone in our struggles strengthens our ability to endure, giving us a sense of connection and a reminder that support is always available when we need it. Resilience thrives on stability, and one of the best ways to cultivate stability is through healthy habits and routines. Our routines anchor us, especially in chaotic times, providing a sense of normalcy and structure that keeps us grounded. Building habits like regular exercise, journaling, meditation, and good sleep hygiene nurtures our mind and body, making us more resilient to stress. These practices are small acts of self-care that help build resilience because they remind us that no matter how tough things get, we can always turn to these rituals for grounding. Surround yourself with those who lift you up. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most powerful choices we can make in life is choosing the people we allow into our inner circle. In moments of strength and joy, the people around us celebrate with us. In moments of vulnerability, challenge, or doubt, they remind us of who we are and what we're capable of. Our relationships have a profound impact on our journey, shaping our mindset, influencing our beliefs, and either lifting us up or weighing us down. So, if we want to cultivate resilience, courage, and growth, we need to surround ourselves with people who lift us up, those who bring out our best selves, believe in us, and encourage us to pursue our potential. The people who lift us up are the ones who see beyond our flaws and mistakes. They don't ignore our imperfections, but they choose to see our strengths, our dreams, and our potential. When we're surrounded by people who believe in us, we start to see ourselves through a lens of possibility rather than limitation. They remind us of our worth, even when we've forgotten it, and they encourage us to aim higher, to go after what truly fulfills us. These people don't compete or judge, they support, encourage, and help us envision a life that feels true to who we are. The people who lift us up are those who respect us not just when we're at our best, but also when we're struggling. They create a safe space where we can be authentic and vulnerable without fear of judgment or criticism. True, uplifting relationships are built on trust, where we know that in moments of hardship, these people will stand by us. Trust allows us to feel secure and supported, knowing that no matter what happens, we have people who genuinely care about us. This kind of support is invaluable because it allows us to take risks, to try new things, and to grow without constantly fearing failure or judgment. To truly surround ourselves with people who lift us up, we sometimes have to make the difficult decision to step away from relationships that no longer serve us. Not everyone in our life will align with our values, support our dreams, or have our best interests at heart. It's natural to feel loyalty to long-standing relationships, but if someone consistently brings negativity, doubt, or drama, it can weigh heavily on our resilience and happiness. Choosing to let go of these relationships doesn't mean we lack compassion or kindness, it means we value our well-being enough to protect it. By letting go of relationships that drain us, we make room for connections that nurture and uplift us. The people who lift us up bring a sense of balance to our lives. They celebrate our successes without envy, share in our struggles without pity, and offer support without trying to control or fix us. These are people who bring a steady, positive energy, a presence that feels calming, inspiring, and hopeful. They don't always have to say the perfect thing, but their presence alone is grounding. Prioritizing these relationships means choosing to invest in people who contribute positively to our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Over time, this positivity acts as a buffer, helping us stay resilient even when life becomes challenging. The best relationships are those that encourage mutual growth. When we surround ourselves with people who lift us up, we find ourselves inspired to keep growing, learning, and becoming the best versions of ourselves. They challenge us in a loving way, pushing us to break out of our comfort zones, pursue our passions, and believe in our capabilities. True friends want to see us succeed, not out of selfish gain, but out of genuine joy for our happiness. And when the roles are reversed, we're there to encourage them too. In these relationships, growth is a shared journey, one that brings out the best in both people. When we surround ourselves with people who lift us up, we're not just building our individual resilience, we're creating a network of collective resilience. In times of hardship, the power of community can be life-changing. Knowing we have people who stand by us, who will listen, support, and encourage us, strengthens our ability to handle whatever comes our way. We're able to face challenges not alone, but with the power of a connected, supportive group. This sense of belonging, of being seen and valued, fuels our inner strength and helps us stay grounded, even in the face of life's toughest moments. Ladies and gentlemen, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up is not just about building a strong support system, it's about choosing a life that feels aligned, balanced, and empowering. The relationships we invest in are reflections of the lives we want to lead. By choosing people who inspire us, challenge us, and believe in us, we set ourselves on a path toward growth, resilience, and fulfillment. And in turn, we become that same source of strength, hope, and encouragement for others.
Thank you.